YOLO! So the problem we're checking out today is a case in which your Audi Coupe 4000 drives for a while and then just dies on you. You might think that it's overheating, you might think that it's a continuous ignition system problem, but it actually could be that because it's an old car, your gas tank might be rusted out and on the inside, and the mesh filter that covers the outcoming fuel feed line is clogged with flakes of rust. In that case, your fuel pump is struggling to pull in the fuel and the car dies. So today I'm talking about just that. Hey there, so today it's not going to be perfect because it's crazy hot in here and I'm having allergies, but the mesh filter from the inside the gas tank looks like kind of like a sock or a candy bar wrapper that's made out of mesh, and I don't think you can get a replacement for it. So either you will have to make your gas tank spotless and just leave it without the mesh filter at all, or get a new gas tank with a new mesh filter inside of it, I suppose. I think it's okay to leave it without a mesh filter because many cars come without them at all. Please watch this video until the end. There are some revelations that I come across in regards to this issue. You will only need very basic tools to remove your gas tank, like a screwdriver and some pliers. You might want to refer to the owner's manual, and this is why I will include some pages of the owner's manual in the video itself. And I will also show some of the parts of removing the gas tank. So what you can see here is the fuel supply system from the manual. This one is for 5-cylinder CISE. There's one next to it, 5-cylinder CIS. Coupe GT. Okay, another fuel supply. Audi Coupe was produced between 1981 or 1980 and until 1987, and the continuous ignition system, the Cagetronic that was used on it in the earlier years was mechanically managed, like it worked mechanically, so it was called CIS, continuous ignition system, and later on it was managed by the ECU of the car. So in the later years, maybe it was just in 1987, but somehow in the later years. It was called CISE therefore, and that's what the other page is for. If you know more specifically the years when each of the systems was in use, please comment below. For all of you out in the Americas, these tanks, you cannot get them on Rock Auto. Not in the beginning of 2018 when this video is being made. So we are actually going to cut 2 holes in the fuel tank and get to the fuel tank screen. In this portion of the video, it is assumed that Audi A4000 and Coupe both have a mesh filter covering the fuel feed line at the bottom of the gas tank. I am still to find out that Audi Coupe does not have it and Audi A4000 does. Just wait, I gotta cut a huge hole in my gas tank first. Just a note, the article the forum article that's linked in the description, that one is for a Quattro, for a 4000 Quattro. And this is your fuel tank removing page. Up close. So pause if you need to. Keep in mind that if your fuel pump or fuel filter are 100 years old, it could be that you're just dealing with faulty parts and your gas tank is not rusted out. You're gonna see how I checked my gas tank insides. I put a camcorder inside the trunk to actually film what's on the inside, because you cannot stick your head in and see the inside without removing the gas tank. There is the fuel tank. Audi Coupe GT 1985. Unplug this connector first before you take this guy out. So you take out the fuel tank sander unit. It just unscrews. It doesn't have doesn't go too far. It just sort of sits like this when it's on there, and then turns a little bit, this much. Good way to do it, just fit something that can fit both of these notches and use it as a lever and turn it. It's just going to come out like so. And as you can see right away, this one, we've already taken it out, and we've kind of cleaned off the rust somewhat already. Let's see where you can see it better. But it's pretty bad. It's pretty awfully rusty. The tip is all, it just looks like it might fall off. So all this obviously will need to be cleaned off. It's not sensing anything right now. This ring will need to be covered in graphite powder before you put it back on there. Ideally, probably get the owner manual for this. So hopefully you can see with this light the walls of the fuel tank themselves are rusty already. And let's look in there. You cannot actually have such a good access to see this with your head, but the camera is able to get in there and see it without the fuel tank out. Basically, the bottom of the fuel tank is dirty, the walls are rusty. What you are going to be doing to fix this is you're going to be going inside the tank. You're going to take the fuel tank off and cut out a hole in the top of the tank and then in the bottom of the tank to get to the fuel tank screen, because that is where it is. Audi Coupe does not have it. So disconnect the overflow line. This is the overflow line. Done just like so. Just get your hand in there. I already disconnected it, but basically just gently pull on it and, well, it just comes off like that. Like that. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. So far the connector to send unit is the hardest part of this thing, well, on the inside at least. So the vent line comes off of its clips over here, and then this is the unit. Lives in this corner just like you saw on the instruction, and it usually sits inside this softer rubber part. It's sort of taken out right now, but this is sort of how it usually goes. The rubber part itself has an opening over here in the back of it, so it usually, the unit sits in it and it's turned with that opening towards the interior of the car. So usually it sits sort of like this, but just deeper into the rubber part. And this opening here that I showed you goes onto this hook right here. And it's on there pretty tight, and it's gonna be a pain in the neck to take it off. But that's what you're gonna do, just take a screwdriver or something. It's easier if you take the unit out of the rubber part first, because otherwise the unit is going to be propping against the top of the trunk. So take the unit out and then take a screwdriver and start pushing the unit off of this hook upwards, right, until it comes off. Quick note before I forget, the instruction actually tells you to do all the work from the bottom first, so you know, everything from the belly of the car, dump the fuel, everything, and then get in the trunk and disattached over here, and then should sort of fall out. We are kind of not in order in that way. The fuel is already out. We did it like before we even got into the trunk, so now we did the trunk part. Now we're gonna finish the part from underneath the car before we unscrew it and take out the fuel tank. So just a quick look on the bottom here. This is the fuel feed line itself. It goes over here usually. Alright. So this is what you disattach and the fuel starts coming out of it. This is actually where you drain your fuel tank. So we already did that. Over here is the return, which you're gonna also loosen, disattach, and some fuel is gonna come out of it, but not a lot, just whatever is in the hose here. And this is your airline, which is, well, as of right now it's already disconnected on the top, but you're gonna, if you follow what I told you to do in the trunk, then you will have this disconnected as well. So you don't do anything with it here, it disconnects over in the trunk. These two are what you're working with on the bottom. And last step, we remove these bolts that are holding it from the sides. So, ow! So right there on each side. And then it pretty much should come right out. So mine takes a wrench tip size 13 millimeters. So just in case wondering why we're not the most enthusiastic today, and this is Fahrenheit, it's like what, 20, more than 28, just over 28 degrees Celsius for all of you normal people out there. And this has cooled down a few degrees already. This one is off, this one's still on. Two top ones are still on kind of loosely, and this pipe, the one you get your fuel through when you're fueling your car at a gas station, this pipe is one piece with the tank, as you can see in the article linked below. So the way you disattach this is what it seems like is just the rubber, this rubber around it. That's kind of holding on to it. That's about it. So the way to do this is you take a screwdriver, you pull this off a little, stick a screwdriver in there, and you can already see, I don't know if you can, but you can basically already see through this opening into the trunk. Then I'm gonna spray some soap water. It's water mixed with soap. Surprise. I'm gonna spray that around it. I'm gonna prop it in some other parts of it and also spray some soap water, and then it should slide right out, hopefully. So this pipe is out. Bolts on the left side are off. Bolts on the right side are off. There's a little bolt, don't forget about it, right this one. I can't do it with the camera in my hand, but take that off and you're good to go. Sure. Mechanical Pete removing the gas tank so you guys can see. This is what you're missing out on by being inside the garage. Where's the other one? A mechanic in their natural habitat. after leaving the garage. Just coming into contact with the nature.
Can we see on the rock auto maybe you can get a whole gas tank?
Yeah, we can see if we can just get a new gas tank. I think it's okay to leave it without that mesh because the many cars just come without it at all. I almost just like lost my phone to the Grand Canyon.